Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome back to our second session of this 18 days Bhagavad Gita class. So before we go ahead, we'd like to thank Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya and the author of this book, Bhagavad Gita. So we could see Prabhupada, the founder Acharya, at the age of 70, one man from this great land of India, he traveled across the globe. In just a short span of 11 years, 14 times he circled the globe and he built more than 108, that's 108 temples all over the world. He made revolution. What was impossible, he made it possible. So I thank you once again, all of you, for coming today, and joining this 18 days Gita class. And I'm very excited to have you with us on this most enlightening journey. Hare Krishna. So to begin with, yesterday we spoke about chapter 1, right? And we spoke about four important aspects. That's one is the battlefield. On the battlefield, we spoke about the mindset of Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, correct? And then we spoke about Pandava's sign of victory. And then we spoke about how Krishna is a Bhakta Vatsala, is very kind, causeless mercy. And finally, we spoke about the most very important aspect of yesterday's chapter, that is Arjuna's reluctance, the mindset of Arjuna, why he said, I don't want to fight in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So we could see that Arjuna's confusion and sadness because he saw his relatives and friends on the battlefield. So today we are heading towards chapter 2. That's the content of the Gita summarized, right? So today we look into chapter 2 where Arjuna's questions answered. Arjuna's confusions, continues, and Krishna is answering to those questions. Okay, so we can see how Arjuna is seeking guidance from Krishna. So chapter 2 is a summary of entire Bhagavad Gita. I know it's a very big chapter. It has almost 72 slokas, right? So we could see chapter 2 has 72 slokas, the content of Gita summarized. So it's a big chapter, and we'll try to make it, short and sweet. So stay connected. It's very important. So I generally see one thing is very important. What kind of learners inspire a teacher to teach with enthusiasm? So you have four options. Some knowledge, not interested, but interested. So what kind of a learner inspires a teacher, teach enthusiasm? Most people say, I have no knowledge, but I'm interested. That's the best attitude to have when learning, being open and curious. We can see even Arjuna also shows the same attitude. At first, he spoke a lot, saying what he thought was right. But now he admits he is confused and he asks Krishna to guide him. He says, I am your student now. So please teach me what is best for me. And this moment is very important. So before this, Krishna didn't say anything. First chapter, Krishna was just listening. Arjuna was speaking. Now that Arjuna surrenders and asks Krishna sincerely, Krishna starts teaching. Very important. So, in this first chapter, as I told you, we have this chapter divided in four categories. Okay, I'm coming back to this. Taking shelter as a disciple, that's the first category. Second, I am not this body, but soul. Third, responsibility of a soul and body. And then characteristics of a devotee. So the first chapter has four important divisions, right? Taking shelter as a disciple. Then I am not this body, but soul. Responsibility of a soul and a body. And then characteristics of a devotee. So now we'll speak about the first topic, that is taking shelter as a disciple. And you all have answered the question very correctly. When I asked this question, what kind of a learner inspired the teacher to teach with enthusiasm? Many gave the answer, no knowledge, but interested. Yes, that was what I was looking for. Thank you so much. Now, we could see here, this is a time where Arjuna is surrendering and asking Krishna, and Krishna starts teaching. So, very important. So, let's begin our second chapter with chanting this sloka. Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava prachami tvam dharma sammura chetaha yatriyasha nishistam bruhitanmi shishyastaham shadimam tvam prapannam. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is the best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So we could see that in the first chapter, Krishna did not spoke anything. But now Arjuna is accepting Lord as a teacher and asking him for advice. Now that I'm confused. So here is an example I want to give you. Let's say when a student goes for a learning, learning singing, right? You want to learn how to sing. If he knows nothing, it makes the teacher easier to teach him, right? Let's say, for example, I am going to learn how to sing, and I already have a little bit of background, what ragas to sing. So what happens in my case, when I go for teaching, the teacher will charge me 4,000 rupees. But somebody, let's say, who's very new, he just want to learn how to sing, he'll be charged 2,000. You may ask, what's the difference? Why 2,000? Why 4,000? See, I know some music already. That's why the teacher charges 4,000. Why? Because the teacher first has to unteach what the student learned incorrectly. He has to remove all the things that I have taught earlier. To unteach that, he's going to charge me 4,000. But for somebody who's very fresh, very new, he'll just charge 2,000. Similarly, if we all think, I only know Bhagavad Gita, this is the one which blocks ourselves from learning real knowledge. That's why we must be humble like Arjuna. So many people think that they're doing the right thing. But to know what is truly right, we need higher knowledge. Although Arjuna thought avoiding war was because of compassion, but Krishna showed him that the real duty is sometimes means fighting to protect dharma. Now let me ask you, let's take example of Draupadi. When she was insulted in the royal court, many elders stayed silent. If people like Duryodhana rule the kingdom, more women will suffer. So Arjuna needed to fight, not just for himself, but to protect others and uphold justice. That's why it's mentioned, Karpanya dosho bhata svabhava prachamitam dharma sammura chetaha etriyasha nishtam gurithanmi sushistam shaditvam prapannam. It says, now I am your disciple and the soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So Arjuna is sincerely asking Krishna to advise. That's very important. Now coming to the next slide, I am not this body, but the soul. So from the words 2.11 to 11 to 30, almost like 19 verses, we'll have a clear idea that I am not this body, I am soul. But before that, we just discussed about this. Now look at this. Yesterday, we discussed 5 important reasons why Arjuna said, I'm sorry, I'm not going to fight, right? He raised hands, said, I'm not going to fight. So in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna begins to answer Arjuna's doubt and confusion from chapter 1, where Arjuna, he puts his bow down, overwhelmed with emotion. Now, I want to give a brief explanation. What are the main 5 reasons why he said, I don't want to fight? Of course, yesterday we discussed this, but just to brush through once again, we're just going through this. So 5 reasons why Arjuna said, I don't want to fight. So we have on the screen itself compassion, giving up, fear of sin, social thinking, and soft-hearted. So compassion. Arjuna sees that his relatives, friends, and teachers, both sides on the battlefield, his heart is melting with sorrow and compassion. He's emotionally shaken up, actually. His body is like trembling. His bow slips down from his hands. He is overwhelmed by sorrow, grief, and doesn't want to kill those he loves. That's the compassion of Arjuna. Then we see giving up. He had no desire at all to gain the kingdom, no desire for kingdom. Arjuna says, even if he were to gain control over the 3 worlds, no, it wouldn't be worth it if it comes at cost of killing his friends and family. Though the point is, he's questioning the value of victory. He says there's no benefit in winning the kingdom soaked in the blood. So he just says, I want to give it up. So first thing was compassion. Second thing is you want to give it up. And third thing is fear of sin. Because Arjuna is fearing that by killing my elders and relatives would be a great sin, especially when they have done no wrong. It would be involved destroying the dharma towards family and society. But he's saying, even if they desire war, Arjuna believes he should not. That would lead to a normal moral and spiritual downfall. So we could see that. Arjuna is very clear. He doesn't want to get any sin. He just wants to say, I don't want to kill. And coming to the fourth point, the social concern, the family and culture, the Kula Dharma, Arjuna is worrying about the collapse of the family culture. He says, if elders die, without elders, family tradition and dharma will vanish. He's very clearly saying, that this would lead to a moral and spiritual downfall. He fears that it would cause a long-lasting harm to society, including unwanted progeny, Varna Shankara Karakai, and children are confused. So he's very much worried, and also the hellish consequence for ancestors. He's really going deep in thinking, and that's why he doesn't want to make an attempt to fight. So he gave 4 reasons, and the last one is soft-hearted. We can see in the end of the first chapter, Arjuna becomes so tender-hearted that he says he would rather be killed unarmed and unresisting by the enemy than fight his loved ones. So it's very clear that Arjuna is giving reason that why I don't want to fight in this war. But for that, now Krishna is trying to answer them. We could see this for the second category. I am not this body, but soul. So before I go ahead, I want to give an example. You tell me, is it right or wrong? If the thief judge's own son, if the thief is a judge's own son, will the judge let him go free or will he punish him according to the law? He will punish. He has to punish, right? So now Arjuna is saying, I give up everything. I will not fight because so many people are going to die. But think about this. If a terrorist attack India and hurting innocent people, will you protect them or will you say, let the terrorists do whatever they want? I won't stop them. Will you protect the people or not? You know the answer, what happened recently, right? So look at what happened to Draupadi in the palace. Duryodhana was there. His father, his grandfather Bhishma, his teacher Dronacharya, many ministers and the public were all watching, but he had no shame or respect or for anything. In front of everyone, he tried to take the Draupadi's clothes. How can he dare to do this? At least he should respect his father and elders. Now, in front of Bhishma, his grandfather, he should not do such horrible things. But still, he did it. Why? Because he thought, I am the prince. I can do anything. Now think, if such a person becomes the king, what will happen to the woman in the country? Who will stop him? Who will stop him? He doesn't care about right or wrong, about his father, his grandfather, and anyone. Just imagine, can such a person rule the country? What do you say? Yes or no? Definitely no, right? Now, think again. Yesterday, we all said Arjuna was right. But now there's a confusion. From Arjuna's side, we may feel it's wrong to fight, right? But Krishna gives higher knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita. That's what Krishna says. You must fight for dharma. We all think what we are doing is right. That's natural, right? But when we receive higher knowledge, we start to understand what is really right. And that higher taste is given in the Bhagavad Gita. So we should listen to what Krishna is saying. It will really help us in life. Now, Arjuna said, so many people are going to die, so I won't fight. But look at today's world. If someone attacks the country, do you say, let them do whatever they want? No, you must protect others. Army soldiers leave their families and fight for our country. You all know that, what's happening currently. You all know that, right? So somebody has to sacrifice for the safety of all. Because of their sacrifice, we are sitting peacefully here and having a Zoom call. All right? So the Mahabharata teaches us that even a village or a family must sacrifice sometimes to protect dharma. That's why Arjuna was confused and Krishna had to guide him. Krishna told Arjuna, this weakness is not right. Take shelter of me. Be strong. Do your duty. Mahamsman Yuddhacha. You remember and fight. Arjuna surrendered and said, please teach me. That moment, the real knowledge started to flow from Krishna to Arjuna. So if we want that same knowledge, we must also become humble and seek guidance from the Gita, from scriptures, and from the acharyas. Now I have a question. Why did Krishna insist that Arjuna should fight in the war? To protect dharma and stop injustice from Duryodhana's evil action. See, Krishna didn't tell Arjuna to fight out of danger or revenge. He taught Arjuna to raise above personal emotion and fight for dharma. Dharma and justice. So Bhagavad Gita gives us the higher knowledge to understand what is our truly right, right? So now you may wonder, Arjuna had Krishna next to him. Arjuna had Krishna next to him. Whom do we have? Whom do we have? That's a big question, right? Whom do we have? The answer is the Bhagavad Gita itself, because Bhagavad Gita is a Krishna's voice. It's a Vani of Krishna. What Krishna told Arjuna is written in the Gita. If we read it sincerely, we will get the same guidance. I remember couple of years back, I was doing a book distribution on Bhagavad Gita in Mumbai. I was distributing this Bhagavad Gita. One gentleman asked me, is Gita free? I said, no, we're charging for 100 rupees. He looked at me and said, Krishna gave this Gita to Arjuna, which was free. Why are you charging 100 rupees? I said, Krishna gave this Gita to Arjuna in the Kurukshetra, right? Now this is Mumbai, right? So we're taking 100 rupees charge because of transportation. Then you look at me, then he took a copy of Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes people have such questions, why not everything is free, all right? So now, in the next part of the Gita, where Krishna very clearly explains about very important point. If you look at the slide, it's very clear for you that you are not this body, you are a soul. If you don't, okay, I'm repeating this. If you don't fully understand the first chapter, whatever I spoke yesterday, if you're not able to, everything was like bouncing, that's okay, fine. We are still on the same page, that's okay. Just give your full attention just for a few minutes now. And this is a teaching foundation of the whole Bhagavad Gita, right? Whatever you learned yesterday, some points you couldn't understand, it was going out of the head, no problem. But now, just for next few minutes, give your rapt attention, because this is the foundation of our second chapter. Okay, so now Let's recite this sloka. This is from verse 2, point 11. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Asosyan Anusastam Prajna Vadam Sabhasache Gatanutkanscha Nana Sosundi Panditaha. Personality of God, it said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for living nor for the dead. So Krishna is educating about the soul, right? So soul has no birth, no death. This, for example, if someone is dead, we say, oh, he left the body. Actually, the body is lying there, but who left the body? The soul has left the body, right? That's clear, right? Now Krishna is actually, gently, he's chastising Arjuna. He's telling, you are speaking like a wise man, but your sorrow for the death of your relatives, this shows you have you haven't understood the truth of a soul, because the soul is eternal. It neither dies nor it's born. So what I mean to say is the body is temporary. Wisdom means seeing beyond the body. That's why it says Pandita Samadarshana. A wise person, Pandita, sees the soul, not just the body. Now I'll give an example. This is a life example of a saintly person. Once a great saint, was told that one of his closest disciple had died. Then all the people expected that now the Guruji will start crying because one of his disciples died. You know what happened? He simply said he had gone to serve the Lord in other place. What does it mean? That means he knows that the body is perishable, but the soul is eternal. It's not temporary. He said he has gone to serve the Lord in other place. What an answer, right? So now we can see Arjuna's sorrow is based on misunderstanding. And Krishna begins his teaching by correcting the foundation. You are craving for the body, but wisdom means seeing the eternal soul. The body dies, but the soul does not. This is the cornerstone of spiritual wisdom. Now, I have a question. What does it mean when we say he left the body? You can see that the soul is a real person, eternal and unchanging. The body is like, it's like clothing. When someone dies, the soul leaves the body behind, just like changing the old clothes. That's why the wise do not grieve for the body, but focus on the soul's eternal journey. So I want you all to memorize this word, what I'm going to say. This body is not all in all. You all can say to yourself, this body is not all in all. Okay. This body is not all in all. The material world. See, this body is not all in all. The soul exists. This material world is not all in all. Spiritual world exists. And we are not all in all. God exists. Try to memorize this. Okay, I'll repeat once again. Okay. This body is not all in all. The soul exists. This material world is not all in all. Spiritual world exists. And we are not all in all. God exists. Okay, you can try to memorize this. Maybe end of the day, somebody can remind me. I'll just share this to you. Okay, this body is not all in all. Soul exists. We are not all in all. This material world is not all in all. Spiritual world exists, and we are not all in all. God exists. Sounds great. Hare Krishna. So also, we are not human beings with a spiritual experience. We are not human beings with a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings with a human experience. Try to once again recall what I'm saying, okay? We are not human beings with a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings with a human experience. So this is all letting you know that I am not this body, I am soul. All right, makes sense? Thank you. Okay, now let's get into the next one, which is very important for us to know. We'll start with the sloka. This is from chapter 2, verse 13. Dehinamsmin etadehi kaumaram yauvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhira satrana muyate. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So we know that you're not this body, you're the soul. This is the foundation of all spiritual knowledge. If you understand this, the rest of Gita becomes clear, not all clear, clear. It will be easy to understand. The soul moves from one body to another, just like we change clothes. The body dies, but the soul never dies. This is why a wise person doesn't grieve for the living or the dead. The soul is eternal. So what I'm going to say is changing the clothes. Like during the festival, we all love buying new clothes. Like let's say Deepavali is coming. We all, love to buy new clothes. When you wear them, do we feel happy or and fresh? Yes, of course, we all feel very happy and fresh. But do we cry because we left the old clothes? No, because we know we are not these clothes. Okay. Similarly, when the soul changes the body, it's like changing clothes. No, vasam jirnani yata vihaya navvani grananti naro parani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyane samyate navani dehi. Just as a person gives up old clothes and puts on new ones, the soul gives up an old body and takes a new one. Things are clear? Haribol. Okay. But when someone dies, we cry. Who will take care of my children? We think my mother will take care. My husband will manage. I must be the doer. But actually, Krishna is a real caretaker. In so many families, we see children grew up even without parents. Who take care of them? It is God who arranges everything. We think I am doing. I am the doer. That's a false ego. No, because we are not the doer. Actually, we are all controlled by three modes, which we will be sharing in the upcoming chapter. So the truth is that we are not this body, we are not this deha, not this body. We are the soul, we are the Atma, and the soul is eternal, permanent, untouched by death or birth. This is one thing I wanted to share. Pathams journal. Let's just changing the clothes. Right now, very important aspect that we're sharing today is very important. Please pay all your attention here. Okay, so here we're going to discuss 3 points. Gross body, subtle body, and the soul. So, what is gross body? What is subtle body? And what is soul? The gross body is made up of earth, water, fire, air, and space. That's the gross body. You see this gross body, right? You can see me, right? Gross body. Subtle body that you cannot see me. What is that? My mind. Can you see my mind? No. My mind, intelligence, and false ego. So the gross body is made up of, Panchabhuta. All right. Bhumi, Apo, Nala, Vayu. Made up of earth, water, fire, air, and space. And the subtle body, man, buddhi, ahankar. That is mind, intelligence, and false ego. Then what about the soul? Soul is Sachidananda. I mean to say, it is eternal, full of knowledge and happiness. I'll tell you one story. It's a very interesting story. Once Garuda. Who's Garuda? He is a bird vehicle of Lord Vishnu. He's a Vahana of Lord Vishnu. Right? Once he was traveling, he saw Emeraj. Now, who's Emeraj? He is a personification of death, god of death. And he was having a glance on a small bird. Garuda was moving. Emeraj was looking at this bird. Then immediately Garuda thought, okay, the bird might die now. Why? Because Emeraj is looking at the bird. So Garuda, he quickly took that bird, flew a very far place, and he thought now maybe he'll be safe from Emeraj. There was a big banyan tree. He just dropped there. The moment he dropped, suddenly one snake arose and he just galloped that bird, and the snake and that bird died. But now, when this Garuda, when all the way he came back from far distance, he came back to the normal place where he was. Emraj was seeing Arendal. He said, Garuda, I'm very grateful to you. When Garuda returned, Emraj said, I was wondering how the bird will travel all the way so far and it will meet its destiny. But you helped me, Garuda. So this shows that no one can stop death. No one can escape death when the time comes. That's why life is uncertain. But even when the body dies, the soul doesn't. People worry, what will happen to my family if I die? But we forget that it is not who we are protecting them. It is God who has protecting us. If God takes everything, don't fear. Just understand this one thing. Just understand, you're not his body, you're the Atma, you're the eternal soul. When you understand this point, the fear goes automatically and the real peace begins. So one thing is for sure, if somebody has taken birth, he has to die. Gross body, because we are not just a physical body. We have a gross body, which is made up of matter. And we have subtle body, which is made up of mind, ego, and ahankar. And then we have the core, the soul, which is eternal and spiritual. So death only affects the body, never the soul. Thank you so much. I'm so happy that that whatever questions I'm asking you, more than 90% I'm getting the right answer. That shows how attentively you're all hearing the class. Very important. Okay, now, who am I? Who are a soul with a temporary body? Now tell me, I would say this is my head, right? This is my head, this is my leg. I would say this is my watch, and this is my dhoti kurta, I would say. Everything I would say, my hand, my fingers. But I would never say it's I head. I would never say it's I watch. I would never say it's I hands. Then who am I? If I'm saying it's my leg, sorry, my hand, I'm saying it's my head. I'm saying it's my watch. I'm saying it's my book. I'm saying this is my water bottle. Everything I'm saying it's mine. But everything is mine. Then who am I? Who am I? I think we got the answer. Soul. Yes. So that is what I was trying to explain. Okay. Now, coming at this point, the soul is eternal and indestructible. So I have a small homework for all of you. I would appreciate that you can just take a snapshot of this. Take a snapshot. I'll give you a minute. Just take a snapshot. This talks about the verses that attributes the soul. How soul is not a matter. That soul can't be cut into pieces. So, you can just take a snapshot. And when you have a time, just open Bhagavad Gita and go through verses 18, 20, 23. You'll have a more clear answer for this. Okay? The soul is eternal and indestructible. It is not born, does not die, and cannot be harmed by weapon, fire, water, or wind. It is invisible beyond the material elements and always remains unchanging. This is the true identity of all living beings, immortal and divine. This is all about the soul. Okay? So do a small homework. And now, coming to a very important aspect, we identify with the body, but we have forgotten the soul. Now, how do we understand this? I would say my hand hurts. I would never say I hand. I am hand, right? It's my hand is paining. My head is spinning. I never say I spinning, I head spinning, I hand spinning. For example, let's say my phone is lost, but we know we are not the phone, right? In the same way, we say my body, but we are not the body. We are the owner of the body, the one who is aware of this, who feels, who thinks. That is the soul. That is the soul. All right. So, but since birth, we have only been taught to take care of the body, eat, sleep, dress up, and that's all. And we've forgotten that we are soul, which is our true or real identity. So I'll give an example. This is about an actor who's wearing a costume. Imagine an actor on the stage playing a role of a beggar. And he wears very dirty clothes. Looks very miserable, cries for the food. But once the play is over, he removes all his costume, and now you realize that it's actually a millionaire. He's doing a drama on the stage. Similarly, we are souls wearing this body like a costume, but we have to become so absorbed in the role of the body. We have been so absorbed in the role of a body that we think, I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm an Indian, I'm an American. That's why we forgot who we really are. Who we are? Eternal soul. Exactly right. Now, to make it more easier, I have this wonderful example. You would love this, Now we spoke about two categories. We're the third category now. Responsibility of a soul and body. First, we spoke about surrender. Then we spoke about I'm not this body, I'm soul. Now we're talking about the responsibilities of a soul and the body. All right. So let me explain with this picture. You can see the picture, right? We have two duties in life. One is towards duty towards the body and a duty towards the soul. Now look at this picture. All of us look at this picture. Even I'm looking at this picture. Okay, look at this picture. Imagine a parrot in a cage. You are cleaning the cage every day. And it's a golden cage, not a normal, it's a golden cage. Okay, you're cleaning the golden cage every day, but not feeding the parrot. What will happen? Parrot will die. Even if the cage is clean, it's shining, here the parrot is the soul and the cage is the body. We are just taking care of the cage, but we forgot to feed the parrot. So we are taking care of our body, but we forgot to feed the soul. So we are always taking care of our body, like eating, dressing, doing a lot of exercise, going to gym, but we forgot to take care of our soul. That's why we feel empty or confused sometimes. So I'll give an example. Once there was a great king, and every day he used to wear different clothes. Sometimes he used to wear like a soldier, sometimes he used to wear like a normal clothes, like a local person. So one day, one child asked the king, "Are you the soldier today?" The king smiled and said, "No, I am always a king. Today I'm just wearing a soldier's dress." So what do we learn from this? Just like the king is not the clothes, we are not this body. The body is just a dress. We, the soul, are always in the same, inside, eternal and full of life. When the body changes from baby to youth to old age, it's like it's just changing clothes. And when the body dies, the soul gets a new body, just like changing clothes again. So we are the soul, not the body, and the soul is real, I, right? So this is a clear understanding I want to give, that we're not this body, we are soul. To make it very clear, I have this example for you. What is the duty towards the body? See, in the sloka it says, Swadharma api chavekya na vikramatim arhasi. It says, considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principle. And so there is no need for hesitation. Now here Krishna is telling Arjuna, you must do your duty. For you as a warrior, your duty is to fight for dharma. So that is what Krishna is telling to Arjuna. So this is about bodily duty, yeah? Doing what is right in your role. Just, I'm sure you're paying attention. Krishna is telling Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya, you are a warrior, and your natural duty is to protect the society and uphold justice. When the war is fought for a righteous cause, like stopping injustice and protecting dharma, then there is no better duty for you. So don't hesitate. Just do your duty with courage. Just do it. No, that's what he's saying. And the message, what we can understand from this verse, that doing your rightful duty, especially when it serves a higher purpose or a justice, is most honorable action, even it's difficult. So we can see that just like a doctor must sometimes perform painful surgery. Let's say I've got some wound here, and you want to do some surgery. It's painful. If I say don't do surgery, just leave it as it is, then I'm going to have much pain. So he will do his part. He will do surgery. It is painful. Why? Because it's going to save my life. It's going to save my hand. Similarly, as a Kshatriya must sometimes fight to protect the dharma. That is what I'm trying to convince, that duty of a body. All right. Now coming to the soul, what is the duty of a soul? Let me read this translation, chapter 2.51. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. But we also must remember our spiritual duty. That means we should also take care of our soul. Wise people work with devotion without being attached to results. And by doing so, they become free from the cycle of birth and death, reaching the peaceful eternal state. Now, Krishna is saying, great souls act with the wisdom and devotion. not for selfish gain, but offering their work to God and letting go the desire for result. They are no longer bound by karma. Say for example, if the government has told to shoot these people because they are terrorists, by doing that he'll be rewarded. But now government has not told you, and you're just killing anybody whom you like. You will be in a jail. You will be in great punishment. So if government is telling you, then it's no issues. So like that, if Krishna is telling you do this, by doing that, it's always the right thing. You're doing dharma. That's what I'm trying to say. They are no longer bound by karma. So this frees from the cycle of birth and death and leads them to the state of permanent peace and happiness. That is God's abode. So what I mean to say here is that work with devotion and detachment, detachment from results. And this leads you freedom from suffering and takes you closer to the God. I'll give you a very nice analogy. Like a river, when it's merging to the ocean, river is merging into the ocean and becomes free from its limited flow. Similarly, a person who works selflessly in devotion merges into God's peace, becomes free from the bondage of material life. It's very simple, but once you understand this analogy, it's very easy to understand that, we are not this body, we are soul. That's why I mean to say, suffering will be there in life. It's imbalance, but we should try to balance it. How do we do that? We need to balance both. Suffering means something is out of balance. Think clearly, bring life back to into harmony. How to do that? By balancing. That's why it's very important to know that we are not this body. When we are in bodily platform, then we are in trouble. That's why the duty of a body focus on worldly responsibilities like family care, physical health, social norms. But when it comes to the soul, it focuses mainly on the spiritual growth, like loving God, understanding life's purpose, and following the divine guidance. So material studies gives temporary happiness. I agree with that. But while spiritual duties bring a eternal peace and fulfillment. That's why I've given you the duty of a body and the duty of a soul. See, in the duty of a body, it says trying to understand family members, looking those who are around you. When it comes to soul, trying to understand the soul, loving the Lord. That's a big difference, body and soul. That one thing we have to understand. And finally, we're coming up with the last aspect, that is the characteristics of devotees. So we are all looking for happiness, right? When one is spiritually, see, when somebody is spiritually content and connected to the Lord, gets a lot of satisfaction. Like for example, they ask me, you've been working for Microsoft and now you left the job, you become a monk, what are you gaining? I just told him one single line, higher taste. I get more satisfaction, I get more peace, I get more connected, right? Because outside world, it's like when you have money, how are you? When you have no money, who are you? It's like that, But in the case of, devotion platform, when you do some service, you feel like I want to do more. Why? Because you get that satisfaction. Outside the world, no matter how much you work, still they say you work more, some more, maybe another half an hour, or maybe 1 hour, There's no end for the limits. But in bhakti, it's not like that. Whatever little service you do, you feel so happy. You feel very content. So this peace removes the influence of all suffering. And that is the result. That's why the person's intelligence becomes firm and focused. So our mind is like a lake. When it is disturbed by desire, anger, and confusion, we lose the clarity. It looks like very unclear. But when it is peaceful, when you're doing devotional service, when you're very content, satisfied, then you see your buddhi, your intelligence becomes very steady. And you could see it's like a still lake. Things looks very clear and you can reflect everything. It is possible. It is possible. All right. Now, in this verse, it says a very important verse. It says, for one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence soon well established. So, very important. If you want to make notes, please do make notes. There are three types of sufferings that all living beings face in this material world. Three types of suffering. One is called Adhyatmika Klesha, that is suffering from the self. Then Adhyatmika Klesha, okay. Then we have Adi Bhautika Klesha, then Adi Devika. So we'll go one by one so that it can be very clear, okay. So the first I was sharing is Adhyatmika Klesha, suffering from the self. This refers to suffering caused by our own body and mind. I'll give you an example. Now I have a physical pain, there's there's an injury in my leg, mental stress, depression, anxiety, anger, fear. So this misery comes from within you. Okay, I'm repeating this, suffering from the self. That is called Adhyatmika Klesha, and then we'll speak about the next part, that is Adi Bhautika Klesha. Okay, so Adi Bhautika Klesha means suffering from other living entities. Now, this is a suffering caused by other people, or maybe even animals. For example, attacked by enemies. I'm giving class. There's a mosquito biting near my feet. So I cannot do. It's like it's biting. So that's also Adi Bhautika. All right. And bites from insects, wild animals. So this misery comes from other living beings. And then we have Adi Devika Klesha, suffering from natural forces or higher power. This refers to problems caused by nature or unseen divine focus. Like, for example, I would say like natural disaster, earthquake, flood. So this misery comes from a higher force of nature. Things are very clear. Adhyatmika Klesha means suffering from the self. Okay, and Adi Bhautika means suffering from other living beings. And then I spoke about Adi Devika means suffering from natural forces. Now I have a quick question for all of you. You tell me which is Adi Klesha, Adhyatmika Klesha, which is Adi Bhautika Klesha. I'm going to come up with some questions now. So which of the following is an example of a Adhyatmika Klesha? So we have four options: an earthquake hitting your village, your mind filled with anxiety and depression, being cheated by business partner, snake bite during the forest walk. Wow, mind filled with anxiety and depression. Sharing the result. I'm stopping it now. Hey, good. Okay. The mind is filled with anxiety and depression. Okay, let me ask you the next question. Okay, which is an example of Adi Bhautika Klesha? Cyclone destroying homes, getting a fever due to infection, being attacked by thieves at night, fear of losing your job. C, being attacked by thieves at night. Because I told you, Adi Bhautika Klesha means suffering from other living beings, right? Other living beings. So yeah, being attacked by thieves at night. That is called, Adi Bhautika. Okay, let us try the Adi Devika Klesha, which is an example of Adi Devika Klesha. I think you should answer this now. Okay, let me check it out. Flood caused by heavy rains. So we have no control over that. All right. So this three types of suffering shows that no one is completely free from problem in the material world. And that's why scriptures like Bhagavad Gita teaches us to seek the spiritual path where we can rise above these miseries to the devotion, knowledge, and connection with God. Okay, since we're running short of time, we'll make it a little faster, Okay, so this is a homework for you all. This is about what are the benefits of being a devotee of Krishna. All right. So it says that a devotee of Krishna faces no loss and is always protected from fear through Bhakti Yoga. So we should all do Bhakti Yoga, and it can be done by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra with a strong determination, and they will help you to rise above good and bad karma and make you become free from the cycle of birth and death. Such a person gains steady wisdom and understand the will of God clearly. So I have a couple of, you can take a snapshot of this. This is a verse 2.39, 2.4. You can just go through that, that's a homework for you. So today, we will summarize what we explained. So we spoke about chapter 2, content of Gita summarized, which has more than 72 slokas. We spoke about taking shelter of a disciple, how Arjuna took shelter of Krishna. Then we spoke about I'm not this body, I'm soul, and you very nicely answered all the questions. Then we spoke about the duty of a body and soul. Even that also it was fabulous. You gave wonderful answers. And then we spoke about the characteristics of Krishna consciousness devotees. We spoke about no, the different kleshas, the different obstacles. We spoke about Adhyatmic, Adibodhik, and Adidevi, and you also answered very nicely. Good. So, what is the take-home message from this chapter 2? Is that it says if a person performs the duty with determination and enthusiasm, they can live happily in this life and also the next life. So Arjuna surrenders. He was confused, he was helpless, and Arjuna asked Krishna to guide him. We saw that. Then Krishna begins teaching. First chapter, he was just listening. Second chapter, now Krishna is speaking. He tells Arjuna not to grieve like a fool. The wise don't lament for the body. And then we know you are a soul, you're not the body. The soul is eternal, the body is temporary. I give example of clothes, how we change, Then do your duty. Being a warrior, fight Arjuna, must fight for justice. No, not run away. Then we spoke about act without attachment. Work for your duty, not for results, And that I spoke about karma yoga. Then be balanced in success or failure. Stay steady, focus. And this is buddhi yoga, yoga of wisdom, which we'll be discussing, Then we spoke about the science of a realized soul. Peaceful, detached, sense under control, and always connect to God. So you're not this body, you're the soul. Do your duty with detachment and wisdom and rise above the joy and sorrow. And finally, we are in the last slide. Learn how to live in this world. Do your duties and still stay peaceful and spiritual. Discover how to be active, responsible, and still remain untouched like a lotus leaf in the muddy water. How do we convert work into worship? Tomorrow's class is about karma yoga, the art of turning your daily duties into divine steps towards liberation. So don't miss it. Okay? Tomorrow's class, why we shouldn't miss chapter 3, Karma Yoga. How to live spiritually without quitting your responsibility. Okay? So if you want to know all these things, please come to the class tomorrow on time and get a lot of your friends. Let them know what's happening. Bhagavad Gita is just not an information. It is a transformation.